students, welcome to the MOOC course on Controlled Drug Delivery System, which is Unit 1 of Novel Drug Delivery System BP 704T. Myself, Dr. Chitra Gupta, Associate Professor, Department of Pharmacy, Lloyd Institute of Management and Technology. Students, in my past 2 lectures, I have been talking about polymers, and we have been through that what are polymers, what are important categories of polymers or classification of polymers, different types of polymers. Then we discussed the various properties of the polymers that are important to know before selecting a polymer for its controlled drug delivery preparation. Today we will be discussing about the applications of polymers in controlled drug delivery system designing. Before we go on to that, I would like to highlight some of the properties, characteristic properties of an ideal polymer. Firstly, a polymer selected for controlled drug delivery preparation should be non-toxic, it should have good mechanical strength and should be easily administered. It is very important that the polymer is not toxic to the adjacent tissues or biological organs, etc. It is not producing any side effects. Secondly, it should be free from leachable impurities. Since polymer itself is a formulation and several additives are added to it while making a polymer, these additives should not leach out when the polymer comes in contact with the biological fluids. Thirdly, it should be biocompatible and biodegradable. Biocompatibility has 2 aspects associated with it, that firstly it should be non-toxic, secondly it should be non-sensitizing, it should not stimulate immune mechanism of the body. So, the polymer selected for controlled drug delivery application, because they are expected to be within the body in contact with the body tissues for the entire duration of the therapy, they should be biocompatible. And second aspect is that they should be biodegradable. By biodegradability we imply that the polymer should be hydrolyzable. It should be easily hydrolyzed inside the body into smaller molecules which are easily excreted out of the body. Then the degradation products of the polymers must be non-toxic and non-immunogenic. Not only the polymer itself, but its degradation products are also supposed to be non-toxic and non-immunogenic. Another important point is that the polymer should degrade within a stipulated time, that is a reasonable time period. Not that a drug delivery is planned for say 12 days and the polymer remains in the body for years. It should degrade immediately after all the drug release has happened, all the drug enclosed inside the polymer has been released, then the polymer should degrade automatically. Then it should have versatile mechanical, physical and chemical properties. This will help in application of polymers for different uses. Its mechanical properties, physical properties and chemical properties will make it versatile for different applications. Then, but this is desirable. A single polymer never has all these ideal characteristics. We might have to use combination, or we might have to put the polymers to selective use. Properties of the polymer should be amenable to make them application specific. Now, this is the age of customization. We need polymers also with tailor-made properties for a specific applications. So, it should be possible that by making slight changes in the polymer, we can fiddle with the properties, and such polymers which have got customization are called as smart polymers. They can be used suitable for specific applications. Then lastly, the polymer should be inexpensive, it should be easy to fabricate and free from aging. By inexpensive, we mean that the cost should not be very high, because ultimately if the polymer cost is high, it is going to add to the cost of the product. So, if the polymer cost should be less than the cost of the drug preferably, then it should be easy to fabricate by, it should not require any specialized technology to handle a particular polymer. It should be free from aging. Aging means age related degradation of the polymer. That is not desirable, because this will lead to changes in properties of the polymers, which might affect the drug release pattern also. So, a polymer as far as possible for controlled drug delivery application should be free from aging. Here I have listed down some specific properties of the polymers which would be useful in particular applications. The first property mentioned here is the film forming ability. A polymer used for coating applications for the purpose of film coating or preparation of polymeric films should have this film forming ability. Polymers for rheological for use as rheological modifiers, they should have thickening ability. Polymers for controlled release applications should have gelling ability. Polymers which are to be used as binders, they are necessarily to have adhesion in them. Then some polymers have got pH dependent solubility. They can be used particularly for delayed release preparations, or they can be used for targeted drug delivery. Then polymers which are insoluble in aqueous media have solubility in organic solvents. These particular types of polymers can be applied for taste masking, because in that case the polymer coat will not dissolve on the tongue where the fluid is water, because the polymer is insoluble in aqueous solvent. Then polymer with barrier properties are useful when we have to use polymer for protective or packaging application. Details we will explore further. Here are some common applications or conventional applications of polymers. The first one, polymers have been used as binders in tablets as binding agents during granulation process, and most commonly used out of these are hydroxypropyl cellulose and polyvinyl pyrrolidone. They have been used as viscosity and flow controlling agents in liquid preparations and the dispersed systems, biphasic systems, to enhance the stability of the preparation. For example, the polymers like tragacanth and gum acacia. We are also familiar with the use of polymers as film coating agents. As film coating agents, polymers may be used for several reasons. For firstly, concealing the appearance when the product appearance is to be hidden because of its inelegant appearance. In that case, polymer film will help in concealing the appearance. For enhancing the drug stability, when the dosage form has some drugs which are liable to degradation on coming in contact with atmospheric moisture or oxygen, their stability is enhanced by giving them film coating of polymers which are impervious to these substances. Polymers have been used for taste masking. A bitter tasting drug, it has to be administered by oral route. Easiest technique is mask the taste by giving a coating of polymer to the surface of the drug. Then they have been used to modify drug release characteristics as controlled drug delivery applications, as extended release products, as pulsatile drug delivery products or targeted controlled release products. Extended means prolonged. These polymers will prolong the drug release. They will give sustained action of the drug. Pulsatile, they will release drug in shifts or at regular time intervals. Targeted means they will target the drug to a particular organ or the affected site only. Other tissues will remain unattacked by the drug. So, polymers used for such applications are exemplified by hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose, polyacrylic acid, polymethacrylates, etc. Then another important application of polymers is in improving the bioavailability of drug products. Now, there could be several reasons for poor bioavailability of drug products. We have talked about poor solubility, poor aqueous solubility of the drug. It could be lability of the drug, that drug is unstable under certain conditions. Then these polymers may be helpful in either coated forms or as adhesive forms to enhance the bioavailability of the drugs. We will explore this application in further slides. So, I have taken up a few important categories of polymers which are commonly used in sustained release applications, right. The first category that I have taken here is cellulose ethers. These are ether derivatives of natural polymer cellulose. So, the first example here is of methyl cellulose. Methyl cellulose has been commonly used as a viscosity modifier in oral and topical products. Secondly, it has been used as a coating agent for preparing controlled release tablets. Then another common polymer of this category is ethyl cellulose. Ethyl cellulose, because of its non-irritancy, non-toxicity and hydrophobicity, is very useful. It is useful in making sustained release film coating products. It is applied in making microparticles as well as pellets, and since it is insoluble in water, it is very useful in taste masking and stability enhancement because of its concealment properties, because of its imperviousity to water. Next important cellulose ether is hydroxypropyl cellulose. Hydroxypropyl cellulose has been used as a binding agent in tablets. It has been used for film coating in tablets, and it has been used for preparing matrices for controlled release of drugs. Another example is hydroxyethyl cellulose. Hydroxyethyl cellulose is again useful as binders for tablets. It is useful as a film coating agent and forming matrices for controlled drug delivery. Besides, in addition to these three applications, it can be used as a viscosity modifier in topical preparations to enhance the viscosity of the preparation which is to be applied topically, because that will further increase the contact time of the drug and hence improve the drug bioavailability. Another polymer in this category is hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose. This has the specialized property that it congeals at high temperature, because of which it has been used as binding agent, as a film coating agent, as a viscosity builder, particularly useful in liquid preparations or dispersed systems. A very important application of hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose is in replacement of gelatin. It is an alternative of gelatin for making capsule shells. Now, gelatin is procured from animal source. Strictly vegetarian people may not like to take gelatin capsules made out of gelatin shells. So, hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose can be alternatively used for making capsule shells in that case. It has been used as a directly compressible vehicle for preparing sustained release matrix tablets. And last but not the least, an important polymer of or cellulose derivative is cellulose acetate phthalate or CAP. It is an important enteric coating material. It gives acid resistant coat. This is particularly useful in delivering drugs which are acid labile, so that the coating will not dissolve at the acidic pH of the stomach. The dosage form will reach the intestines, and there the coating of the cellulose acetate phthalate will dissolve and the drug will be released in the intestines and hence prevented from degradation in stomach acidic pH. Next important category of polymers are the vinyl polymers. The first example here is polymethacrylates. These are also called as eudragets. Udrigits are an important category of pH sensitive polymers and they have got several grades. I will take up grade L and S. So, these are two different grades of Udrigits and such that these two grades of Udrigits dissolve at different pH values. Udrigit L dissolves at pH 6, S dissolves at pH 7. So, they have been used for drug delivery to specific sites or targeted drug delivery. They can be used for making delayed release preparations. They have been applied for protecting acid labile drugs, because again the stomach pH which is say acidic in or below 3, that can be skipped with the help of Udrigit coatings. So, Udrigits are synthetic non-biodegradable polymers and different grades of Udrigits exhibit pH dependent solubility. It has been applied as a film coating agents, as thickener for topical preparations, again as a viscosity builder, and it has been used in making controlled release preparations because of its swelling mechanisms. In addition to it, it forms flexible films, and lastly but not the least most important application, that it is pH resistant. Different grades of Udrigits can offer protection against acidic pH of the stomach. Next we have polyvinyl alcohols. Polyvinyl alcohols are used as viscosity builders in topical and ophthalmic preparations, and they have been used as stabilizers for colloidal dispersions and nanoparticles. Again, the reason or mechanism behind using this as stabilizers for colloidal dispersions and nanoparticles is again by virtue of increasing the viscosity. Polyvinyl pyrrolidone, it is also called as povidone. It is a very important constituent of betadine solution. It has been used in tableting as a binder in wet as well as dry granulation. Apart from this, it has acted as a directly compressible vehicle also. Then we have polyacrylic acids, another important category or versatile category of polymers. They are sold under the trade names of carbomors or carbopoles. They are again pH sensitive polymers. They form viscous gels at neutral and basic pH while they are in salt state at acidic pH values, and this is a very important property of carbomers which is being exploited in their use in formation of in situ gelling preparations. In situ gelling preparations. Ophthalmic preparations have been prepared using carbomer as a polymer. Ophthalmic drops have been prepared, and by using this carbomer, these drops which are instilled in the eyes in the form of liquid drops, they immediately gel at the pH of the eye. Then it has been used as a gel forming agent, and another important property of carbomer is its muco-adhesion. Because of this, it has been used in muco-adhesive or bucco-adhesive formulations, because it can adhere to the mucosal surfaces and hence increase the residence time and improve the efficiency of drug delivery from a controlled drug delivery system. Next we have polyesters. These are a class of biocompatible and biodegradable polymer, and this biocompatibility and biodegradability makes them very versatile. They are very useful in oral, topical and injectable preparations, as well as they are useful in making implants for controlled drug delivery. Examples are polyglycolic acid, polylactic acid, but polylactic acid and polyglycolic acid are quite different in their degradation rates. Polylactic acid degrades quite slowly and hence it is suitable for controlled drug delivery application, whereas polyglycolic acid that is highly soluble, that has got low solubility, but high degradation in the body. So, this is not suitable as such when used alone for making controlled drug delivery systems. Therefore, what is done? We combine polylactic acid and polyglycolic acid to get copolymers, and these copolymers are denoted as polylactic glycolic acid polymers, commonly called as PLGA polymers. By making these polymers, we can control the degradation rate and make it suitable for controlled drug delivery applications. So, polylactic glycolic acids are copolymers of polylactic acid and glycolic acid. They are used widely in making implants, micro and nanoparticles for controlled drug delivery through almost all routes: oral, pulmonary, topical, ophthalmic, parenteral, because they are biocompatible and biodegradable. They are suitable for different routes of drug delivery. Then the next polymer is polycaprolactone, again an important polymer. It has got extremely slow degradation rate, 2 to 3 years, but this adds to the versatility of this polymer. It has been used in tissue engineering and as medical device in biomaterials. Because of its extremely slow degradation rates, it is used for making scaffolds for tissue repair. Earlier also I had mentioned that scaffolds are nothing, but they are a network like structure which have been seeded with certain cells, such that these cells grow along the guidelines of this network, around this network only, and they acquire a particular shape and structure. So, this particular aspect is called as tissue engineering, and we can make artificial tissues with the help of this and repair various body parts also. So, this is useful because of its low biodegradability. It will take time for the cells to develop into a tissue. So, 2 to 3 years of slow degradation favors use of polycaprolactone for tissue engineering purposes. Further, the degradation rates of this polymer can be certainly modified by mixing it with other polymers of the same category, PLGA or PLA. Next, we have silicons. They are inorganic inert polymers compatible with body tissues, and these polymers are particularly useful in making medical devices like pacemakers, stents, valves, etc. Intravaginal implants are also made. An important application of silicons is in making ophthalmic lenses, eye lenses. Then they are used as adhesives in wound dressing. This adhesive nature is arising because of their affinity for the other tissues. Then polysaccharides, an important category, again they are natural polymers. Now, they are natural, non-toxic and modifiable. Traditionally, gum acacia and tragacanth have been used in liquid preparations, particularly as viscosity enhancers. Xanthan gum has found its use in sustained drug delivery. It has been used in making controlled drug delivery preparations. Another important polysaccharide is alginate as polyalginic acid. Because of its low toxicity, biocompatibility, low cost and gelation by addition of ions, it is useful in controlled drug delivery application. Alginate hydrogels have been used and they resemble extracellular matrices of living tissues, hence are biocompatible. They are used in delivery of bioactive agents, particularly in the form of alginate beads. They control the release of proteins and they can be used in fabricating nanoparticles and microparticles. An important application of alginates is in delivery of bioactive agents for wound healing and cell transplantations. They have been used in bone marrow transplant. Next important polysaccharide is chitosan. Just like carbomer, chitosan has an important property of bioadhesion, right? And this bioadhesion or mucoadhesion makes it versatile for mucoadhesive applications or for making controlled drug delivery applications. It is used as a coating agent and in preparation of micro and nanoparticles for targeted drug delivery and for prolonging the drug release. Further, due to its mucoadhesion, this improves penetration of drug moieties through the membranes and hence improves their bioavailability. Next, we have polyethylene glycols or PEGs. They are sold under the trade names of Macrogols or Carbovaxis. These polyethylene glycols are amphiphilic molecules, that is, they have got both hydrophilic and lipophilic groups in them. They are non-toxic, non-immunogenic and eliminated easily, and all these properties make this polymer highly versatile. It is ideal for designing dosage forms for oral as well as parenteral use, and its amphiphilic nature, it is utilized particularly because it has got low levels of proteins and cellular absorption, thus it does not stimulate immune responses inside the body. As a result, it finds a typical application that it is applied to the surfaces of implants and grafts, because implants and grafts, they have tendency to stimulate the immune mechanism of the body. If these implants and grafts, they have been applied with a layer of polyethylene glycol which minimizes the immune responses. So, the immunogenic response of these implants and grafts is also less, and this particular effect is called as the stealth effect. So, polyethylene glycol has been used in designing implants and grafts for its stealth effect. Another important use of polyethylene glycols is as a plasticizer. In combination with other polymers, it is used as a plasticizer for preparing flexible thin films. Otherwise, if plasticizer is not there in polymeric films, then these polymeric films will be brittle. So, this plasticizer basically imparts elasticity to the polymeric films. So, it is an important additive to other polymers which are used for coating or film forming applications. Here you can see specific controlled drug delivery applications of certain polymers for different routes of drug delivery. The first category that I have chosen is gastro-retentive floating dosage forms. These are prepared for extending the gastric residence time. Now, there can be two mechanisms for enhancing the residence time. As discussed earlier, I had mentioned that these oral route of controlled drug delivery has a problem that the residence time is 8 to 12 hours. We need to prolong it. So, we can make use of polymers which will alter the density of the formulation or which will have some bioadhesive property in them. Examples are chitosan and xanthum. Then next we have extended release formulations for improved patient compliance and sustained drug delivery. Here we can make use of polymers which are water insoluble. For targeting drug delivery, we can use polymers with affinity for the target tissue or target sites. The best example here is PLGA nanoparticles which have been used to transport anti-cancer drug to cancerous cells. Then we have mucoadhesive drug delivery systems or bucco-adhesive drug delivery systems. The intended action here is increased residence time, enhanced drug penetration, and we desired site specific delivery also. Two important examples are chitosan and carbomers or carbopoles. Then we have ocular controlled drug delivery system. Here we desire increased viscosity of the preparation, increased contact time. The polymer should be non-irritant and it should be pH compatible. These polymers are commonly used for ophthalmic preparations, Pluronics, carbopoles and Gelan gum. Then for transdermal application, a polymer should make the dosage form soft, comfortable, with moderate moisture transmission. It should offer occlusion and it should be heat sealable. So, these properties are accomplished with certain specific polymers like polyurethane and ethyl vinyl acetate and polyethylene. Often combination of polymers are used whenever we are interested in transdermal applications. So, that brings us to the end of this unit. Before winding up, I would like to highlight some of the novel areas of polymer research. The first one is designing polymers with tailor-made properties. Second one, stimuli responsive polymers. There is extensive research going on in the area of in situ polymerization. Then bioavailability is often a problem with newer drug molecules with poor aqueous solubility. So, polymers have been designed for enhancing bioavailability of otherwise hydrophobic drugs. Then biodegradable polymers are also desirable because they will add less to the environmental pollutants, and biodegradability inside the body is also desirable for quick elimination of the polymers. And lastly, polymer therapeutics, where drug polymer or protein polymer conjugates have been used for effective delivery of drugs. So, with that I complete unit 1 for you, and we have covered the various aspects of controlled drug delivery and polymers. Thank you so much for your patient listening.